push on this, but it already looks like it's flexing. Oh my God. Ah!
And if you look closely at the one we took off, you see that the lines printed are this way, and it basically broke.
Oh yeah! We got suspension! How's it feel? Oh, I fell.
Too big for me. You ain't never heard that before, have you?
Nope, never. This is what I like to call, Kyle has no idea what he's doing. We've got 4 shocks. We have 4 little bell cranks or whatever you want to call them. Don't even know what they are. I just know someone had a set that I could borrow. I have no idea what I'm doing. But we've got to build some suspension because we definitely need it. These ratchet straps can't hold it forever. So the shock doesn't fit in here. We'll probably end up 3D printing something. We'll end up 3D printing something probably to test this out, but first, probably got to figure out where we want to mount these shocks. Okay, here's my theory. Assume that this little piece of welding wire is a lot bigger than it is, and that's gonna mount somewhere down there. These shocks are then going to mount here somewhere. I still haven't figured out the logistics of it. And then this piece, we're gonna be able to pivot here somewhere, and it's going to push on that part, and that's gonna push on the shock. Really, I just want push rod suspension because it's cool. Now here's the fun part. We get to try and design one of these, but for our application. Here we go. I had Gina help me design and 3D print this. Print this, and after a couple of failed prints, we ended up with something that looks like this. This was our quick and easy way to simulate one of these. Pop some bearings in this. Should work for what we need it to. They should work fairly simple. This piece is going to go through our shock. Gonna need some spacers on that. Hole's a little tight. We're gonna have to build some sort of tabs for this end to pivot on. And a heim joint from the suspension, which I don't know if I'm gonna get these misalignment spacers in here. And that's gonna go to the suspension arm down there. It's already looking cool. And this is why we prototype. Here's our suspension here. We actually added a small plate on the bottom side just to hold it. Once I get the arc droid, I'm gonna remake this anyways, like these tabs. So this is just proof of concept, basically. That's why we're using 3D printed parts. I did move the shock over just a slight bit, and then just have to build a bar from down there up to here. Now, one thing I didn't realize, and I'm gonna finish some prototype number 2, is that if you put an actual smaller than 90-degree angle on this pivot piece right here, run this not perpendicular, but a bit back this way, as you sweep up and the leverage gets longer on this arm, it actually stiffens the suspension. So I'm probably gonna try and run it tipped back a little bit more on the next revision, but for now, this is good. Make this bar right here and test it. See if our 3D printed pivot piece is actually gonna withstand a little bit of weight. Whew, this is a little bit stressful. So technically, this side should support its own weight when we release this jack right here. I'm going to ratchet strap this side up so it stays level. Okay, now if I release this jack, it should be suspension. Oh my God. This side is up without a ratchet strap right now. I'm so tempted to push on this, but it already looks like it's flexing. Oh my God. Ah! Okay, so prototyping with 3D printers, not a thing. Shit, it was doing a thing for a little bit there. So we printed some more things. One I printed this way, so you can see that the lines are going this way as the layers go up. And this one printed flat. So you can see that we have some supports in here, some infills, so we have to get that out. It needs a little bit more cleaning up. But this one in theory should be stronger just the way that the lines are printed than this one. So obviously we're gonna put this one on first to see if we can break it. And for the record, those are 7-hour prints.
And if you look closely at the one we took off, you see that the lines printed are this way, and it basically broke on a layer. So with the new one here, you can see that we took out this big 90-degree angle and we put a triangle in it. That should mean that this has to push directly on all this material to push that bolt, but we won't know until we test it.
Take two, does it live or does it die? It's alive for the moment. Oh, it's making creaking noises, but dude, that is totally holding the weight of it. Yes! And it's got suspension. How much weight does it hold though? Oh! Okay, we broke it on a layer again. At least I'm having fun. All right, it definitely broke on a layer again. So we have the other one to try. We'll pull this one out. We'll try the other one last try. The other thing to keep in mind here is this is PLA, so it's not the strongest, I'm told. I did order some nylon and I did order some ABS, so maybe later we'll print one out of one of those two materials and test to see if it's even stronger than this is. Okay, test number 3. Surviving so far. You know, I should probably put some glasses on, you know, flying shrapnel and stuff. That's working suspension, dude. I've just realized, however, now I've got to go inside and print another one so I can build the other side. Oh my God, it's here. I've been waiting a couple weeks for this now. Oh, yes. Long story short, this is a CNC plasma cutter. That's why we got this plasma cutter, so we can put the torch in that, in this thing. This thing will guide it around, cut what we wanted to cut, and hopefully increase our level of quality by at least 2%. So the next 2 days, just learning how to use the tool. I don't know what I'm doing, test 1. I just did a thing! She made a hole. Yeah, that was cool. Kind of ruined that piece of metal because I put the hole right in the middle, but at least I know how to make it work. Now I just got to figure out how to make my own pattern in the CNC program, probably Fusion 360. I think they have a plugin for that. Put it on a USB, you put it in the Arcdroid, it cuts it out what you need, and then we got to find some metal big enough to cut it with. All right, here's my little bell crank right here. Don't know how it's gonna work. I spent a couple hours doing that, watching some Fusion 360 stuff, and making the tool path and the G-code and all that stuff. Really confusing stuff for someone like me. Let's hope we got it. This is a test piece, by the way. They're all test pieces. The pressure's good. Should be cutting. Now, we've got a couple of things to work out here, but this was a shitty piece of metal. This piece is gonna fit inside there. That's gonna be welded on there as our bearing housing. And we're gonna need 2 of these plates to make one of those guys. Now, we've got a little more fine tuning and a little more cutting to do, but I think that's pretty promising considering I only put in a couple hours of work just to get to this point. This one also looks a little weird because I had some duds in here as well. The holes aren't exactly as round as I would like them to be, but that might be in the setup. I also undersized them on purpose, that way I could re-drill them out to the size that I needed. But if we can make a couple plates like that, clean them up, and then weld them together, I think we're headed on the right track. Well, something there still isn't happy. Maybe it was the dirty material, maybe it's part of my code, but try again. This is what we started with, this is how we progressed, and that's our final one. So this one should be good enough. We have to drill out our holes. I made them small on purpose, but at least they're in the exact right spots. And we might have to Dremel out that hole just a little bit just because there's a taper on that piece. So I might end up using both of these ones just to make our first mount. And this is why I love the plasma cutter. Everything exactly where they are on both of them. It does need some cleaning up. I probably need to sharpen my skills on it, but this is a great start. I also designed this a little bit wrong because these inner holes are actually useless because they're too close to this big hole. It is what it is for now. All right, I'm having the most fun with this. This is what our bell crank is gonna be. I think that's what these are called. This is the bearing housing, the cartridge. But it went from prototype to something that looks like this. The only extra thing in this that wasn't in the prototype was this extra bolt hole right here. That is going to be for the anti-roll bar eventually. We will deal with that another time. But this piece is going to replace that piece. The next step after getting this piece done is we're gonna figure out how to mount it to the frame because this is not good. Specifically the bottom one isn't really in a good location. So I'm gonna have to plate this piece in, I believe, and then build my tabs off that plate. And also I'll tell you how this bolt comes into play. So we're gonna have to build a piece up here on bearings with 2 raised rods, and then 2 pieces that come off there into this. So whenever you compress this suspension, it's going to pull on this rod, and this rod's gonna pull on this rod because those 2 rods are gonna be joined together, and that's going to make this suspension go up too. So that's how your anti-roll bar works in like a push rod suspension. From prototype to production, I love it. This is one of my new favorite things to do now. Sorry it took 3 weeks. And now this assembly goes right like that. I'm gonna toss a 3/8 bolt in the shock side for now. I noticed that the suspension might have been too soft, so I'm gonna go a bit harder on the suspension this time. Oh yeah. We got front shock! Yeah! So sick. Oh, that's so awesome. It's already stiff as heck. So If we wanted to soften it up, we can move this bolt in here, and that would give you more leverage on the arm. But honestly, I don't know. We'll see once all the suspension is in. And if we need to, we can always remake these pieces. Like, as long as we have the shell now, which is this piece in here, we can make these things pretty easy. So we'll get another set printed up. This side, everything just has to be cut out. It's already been filed and programmed, so it should take like no time at all. And then we'll build a piece for back here that has multiple holes in it. So it'll be like a long tab across the back. And I know this is like just pushing suspension against a random bar, but this is really thick material. I don't think it's gonna matter that much. If we have to, we'll triangulate it from like here to out there somewhere.
Quickly just press some bearings in. Ooh, tougher this time. Man, I still can't get over how awesome this tool is. This would have taken me hours to make. Just these simple brackets, the 2, 4, 6, 8 brackets here, hours to make, and all the holes wouldn't have been in the right spots. These holes are 9 mil right now. I purposely made them a little bit small. It gives me the exact location of the hole. I just drill it out after. This is our new shock assembly and push rod suspension stuff.
Our adjustable shock mount in place. Now we have to weld up the top sides of these lower control arms down here so we can put our tabs on top of this control arm for our push rod suspension. I'm gonna plate the bottom side, I think. That's the side that feels better to plate, just because of the weird angle that's on that lower knuckle. And then just build the 2 arms, connect it all up, should have some suspension. Cut us up another push rod. If you've made it this far in the video, you might as well subscribe. One last final assembly, and then it's ready to rock. Let's do this. I'm so excited. This arc droid has totally made the process 100 times more enjoyable, and I'm actually looking forward to coming out here and building brackets and stuff. Whereas before, I didn't want grinding dust all in my nose, so there's that. Turns out our push rods might be a little bit on the long side down here, but I did change where the bracket was, so that would totally make sense. All right, we've been waiting for this time for a while now, it seems. We went from concept with the 3D printer into a production piece with our arc droid, which, to be honest, has been the most fun I've had in the garage in what seems like forever. I think of an idea and I go down on my computer and I make it up in Fusion 360, cut it out, looks awesome. I can't wait to see what we can do with like this technology further down the road. But for right now, it's held up with a jack right now. If I undo this, we should have front suspension. Oh yeah! We got suspension! Should be softer now. Oh my god, way softer. Might be too soft now. We'll try it. And now, you know, for research purposes, once again, these are just Amazon shocks. Maybe we'll replace them eventually. We might have to lengthen or shorten something, but stage 1 complete. Let's just get it running and driving. Back on the stiffer setting. That's a lot better, I think. Got my good helper Gina now. Now that the suspension's in, we kind of got to test it. So Gina's gonna hop in the cart because right now the 170 horsepower in the cart doesn't really move the cart. So I'll be using the 10 horsepower I got to push it.
Only 10? You didn't even give yourself 69 horsepower. Like, that was such a missed opportunity.
How's it feel? Oh, I fell.
Too big for me. You ain't never heard that before, have you?
Nope, never.
Ayy, I got the recipe, never gonna let any op get the best of me. Thought it was distance, but haters is next to me. Talk to the spirit, you know I've been heavenly. Company different.
1 horsepower. Cart definitely looks giant on you compared to
That's because I'm
what
so
it looks like
small.
on me. Yeah.
Full of 5'1.5" right here.
All right, you jump out, I'll jump in, and we'll do a little size comparison with me instead of you.
Size comparison, eh?
Angle from here. The suspension working.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
There is a bomb, apply it, the fire can stand to the tallest of giants, and tyrant and all the suppliers are scheming and lying.
Works good though.
Does work good. Floor test. We're gonna test out the steering.
Show me the door and I'm prying it. Ain't never lacking it, so what I'm packing, he taking it, he magnifying it. They say
All right. If you like the video, just watch more videos. Peace easy. Get that V.
but you rose like the flower. Tell me what it's like to live with superpowers. I don't know, but I'ma get it.